On September 12, 2025, a new vision of darkness arrived in cinemas with the release of The Long Walk. Directed by the talented Francis Lawrence, this film brings to life one of Stephen King's most haunting early works, originally published under his pseudonym Richard Bachman. It is a story that has lingered in the minds of readers for decades, a harrowing journey into the heart of a broken America. The film does not shy away from the source material's grim premise. It plunges us headfirst into a dystopian society where an annual televised event captures the nation's attention. This event, known simply as The Long Walk, is not a game of sport but a brutal ritual of endurance and sacrifice, a spectacle built on the lives of its youngest citizens. The America presented in the film is a place of stark contrasts and oppressive authority, ruled by a shadowy figure known only as the Major. In this world, 100 teenage boys from across the country volunteer for a chance to win the prize, anything their heart desires for the rest of their lives. The cost of this chance, however, is terrifyingly simple. They must walk. They must walk along the country's highways without stopping, day and night, through sun and rain. The journey has no finish line except for the survival of one. This contest is the ultimate expression of the society's cruelty, a televised blood sport that serves as both entertainment and a grim reminder of the state's absolute power over the individual. The rules of The Long Walk are as simple as they are merciless, enforced with cold, military precision. Each of the 100 contestants must maintain a walking speed of at least 4 miles per hour. If a boy drops below this speed, he receives a verbal warning. After 3 warnings, he is given his ticket. This is a euphemism for a brutal, on-the-spot execution by the soldiers who ride alongside the walkers in armored half-tracks. There are no breaks, no rest, and no escape. The only way to clear your warnings is to walk for a full hour without receiving another one. This simple set of regulations creates a constant state of physical and psychological torment for the boys, turning their journey into a slow, agonizing march toward death. The film masterfully captures the sheer psychological dread of this premise. It is not about a sprint to a finish line, but a slow, grinding erosion of hope, sanity, and life itself. The boys are stripped of their identities, reduced to numbers and moving bodies on a seemingly endless road. Lawrence's direction emphasizes the monotony and the ever-present threat of the soldiers, making the audience feel every strained muscle and every pang of fear. The consequence for failure is immediate and final, a stark reality that hangs over every step the boys take. The contest is not just a test of physical stamina, it is a profound and cruel examination of the human will to survive in the face of absolute hopelessness and systematic brutality. At the heart of this grueling narrative are 3 young men whose fates become inextricably linked on the long road. We experience the walk primarily through the eyes of Ray Garrity, a thoughtful and somewhat naive boy from Maine. He is our entry point into this nightmare, a seemingly ordinary teenager who joined the walk for reasons he cannot fully articulate, perhaps to prove something to himself or to understand the darkness of his world. Garrity is the soul of the group, the one who constantly questions the morality of the contest and forms connections with his fellow walkers, even as he knows they are his competition. His journey is one of gradual disillusionment, as the initial bravado of the walk gives way to the stark reality of its horror. Walking alongside Garrity is Peter McVrees, a scarred and cynical boy with a pragmatic view of their situation. McVrees quickly becomes Garrity's closest friend and protector on the road, sharing his food and offering encouragement. He is more world-weary than Garrity, having joined the walk with a self-destructive impulse stemming from a past heartbreak. McVrees understands the game better than most. He knows that friendship is both a weakness and a necessity for survival. His tough exterior hides a deep loyalty and a surprising capacity for compassion, making him one of the film's most complex and compelling figures. He is the anchor that keeps Garrity grounded as the world around them descends into madness. The third crucial figure in this trio is the enigmatic and solitary Stebbins. Unlike the others, Stebbins walks alone, maintaining a perfect machine-like pace. He is an object of both fear and fascination for the other boys, who see him as an unbeatable force of nature. Stebbins is incredibly intelligent and observant, offering cryptic philosophical insights about the walk and the crowd that cheers for their demise. He carries a dark secret that is revealed late in the film. He is the illegitimate son of the Major, the very architect of the contest. Stebbins believes that winning the long walk is the only way to gain his father's recognition, a motivation that fuels his relentless and almost inhuman endurance. These three characters form a microcosm of humanity under extreme pressure. Garrity represents hope and empathy, McVries embodies cynical survivalism and loyalty, and Stebbins personifies a twisted form of ambition born from neglect and desperation. As the miles wear on and the number of walkers dwindles, their interactions become the emotional core of the story. They share stories, confess their fears, and forge a bond that defies the brutal logic of the contest. They are competitors, yes, but they are also boys trapped in an impossible situation, finding solace in their shared struggle against a system designed to break them apart and ultimately destroy them. As the number of walkers dwindles to the single digits, the film's narrative tension tightens to an almost unbearable degree. The bond between Garrity, McVries, and Stebbins is tested as exhaustion and delirium set in. The final act begins with Stebbins' shocking revelation about his parentage. He confesses to Garrity that the Major is his father and that his entire life has been a preparation for this moment. However, his body finally gives out, and in a moment of pure defiance, he demands the soldiers shoot him rather than simply collapsing. His death is a tragic and bitter end to his quest for paternal acknowledgement, leaving only Garrity and McVries on the road. This is where Francis Lawrence's adaptation takes a significant and shocking departure from Stephen King's novel. In the book, McVries succumbs to exhaustion before Stebbins, leaving Garrity to face Stebbins in the final moments before becoming the broken winner. The film, however, keeps the two friends together until the very end. With Stebbins gone, Garrity finally reaches his breaking point. He stops walking and receives his final warning. As the soldiers raise their rifles, the Major himself steps out of his vehicle, approaches Garrity, and personally executes him with a single gunshot. It is a moment of profound cruelty, robbing our protagonist of even a hollow victory. The film's new ending then delivers its final gut-wrenching twist. A stunned and heartbroken Peter McVries is declared the winner and is told he will be granted his prize, anything he desires. With a cold, empty look in his eyes, McVries makes his request, a carbine rifle. The request is granted. In a swift, shocking act of vengeance, he turns the weapon on the Major and kills him, uttering the words, "This is for Ray." This moment of violent retribution is something King's novel never offered, providing a catharsis steeped in tragedy. The system's architect is destroyed, but the cost is immeasurable, as the act does nothing to erase the trauma or bring back the dead. The movie concludes on a powerfully bleak note that arguably surpasses the novel's ambiguity. In the book, Garrity wins but loses his mind, hallucinating a figure ahead and continuing to walk into oblivion. The film leaves us with Peter McVries, the victor, the avenger, now utterly alone. After killing the Major, he simply turns and continues walking down the empty road, his expression broken. He has won the prize and enacted his revenge, but he is just as shattered as King's original protagonist. His walk is no longer for a prize, but is now an endless, aimless continuation of the trauma he endured. A haunting final image of a young life irrevocably broken by a merciless system. The thematic weight of The Long Walk is what elevates it beyond a simple dystopian thriller. The film is a powerful and unflinching exploration of the trauma inflicted upon young people by oppressive and exploitative systems. The walk itself is a metaphor for the relentless pressures placed on youth to conform, to compete, and to sacrifice their well-being for a prize that may not even be worth winning. The movie's darker, more violent ending amplifies this theme, suggesting that such systems do not just break individuals, they breed cycles of violence. Peter McVries' act of revenge is not a triumphant moment of justice, but a tragic symptom of the deep wounds inflicted upon him and his friends. This story, first written decades ago, feels disturbingly relevant in 2025. The film subtly connects its narrative to the real-world anxieties facing today's youth. The constant threat of violence from the soldiers mirrors the pervasive fear of gun violence that has tragically become a part of daily life for young people. Statistics underscore this reality. In 2022, firearms were the leading cause of death for Americans aged 0 to 19. Furthermore, the desperation that drives boys to join the walk for the prize echoes the economic precarity and insecurity faced by many, with recent data from 2023 showing that nearly 18% of U.S. households with children experienced food insecurity. The film holds up a dark mirror to a society that too often seems to view its youth as disposable. Upon its release, The Long Walk was met with widespread critical acclaim. Reviewers hailed it as a masterwork of adaptation, praising its faithfulness to the grim tone of King's novel, while boldly forging its own devastating conclusion. Many critics have labeled it the bleakest Stephen King movie since The Mist, another adaptation famous for its gut-punch ending. The performances were universally lauded, with a particular spotlight on the actor portraying Peter McVrees, whose portrayal of a boy's descent from cynicism to shattered vengeance was noted as a powerful standout. The film's unflinching commitment to its dark themes has been celebrated as its greatest strength. In a year packed with high-profile Stephen King adaptations, including The Monkey, The Life of Chuck, and The Institute, Francis Lawrence's The Long Walk has distinguished itself as a true standout. It succeeds not only as a terrifying piece of horror, but as a profound and timely social commentary. It reminds us that the most frightening monsters are not supernatural entities but the human systems we create that demand the sacrifice of our children on the altar of entertainment, control, and tradition. The film's final, haunting image of a lone boy walking an endless road will linger in the minds of audiences long after the credits roll, a testament to its power and its painful relevance.